Jesus.
Here's Reverend Bill with your God call.
A lot of the food that we have in our pantries, and the medicines that we have in the medicine cabinet, and even some of the cleaning supplies that we have in the linen closet have an expiration date. And we all know what that means. Some things are best used by a particular date. But do you ever think about an inspiration date? Well, maybe that's something that you can choose right now. Pick a time on the calendar when you are going to be inspired. Then open yourself up and let the creativity flow.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful.
For anybody new, that's the way we clap online, just so it doesn't overload the Zoom meeting. So blessings all, peace and blessings, and welcome to New Thought Philadelphia's online celebration. We are so delighted to be in your presence wherever you happen to be, because this is an international celebration. We have people calling in from the Dakotas and from Portugal and everywhere else. So it's just delightful to be in spiritual community in the internet and virtual world, as well as in the physical world. Please say after me, I open myself to love.
To love.
I open myself to joy. I open myself to the good surrounding me.
I open myself to good surrounding me.
And I know it's love is right here, right now. And so it is. I'm Reverend Dave Schbach. Our music today is by the enlightened and delightful Ginger Coyle. Yay! Yay, Ginger. And our master of ceremonies today is Joe Catanzaro, one of our practitioners.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone. New Thought Philadelphia is an open and loving community of spiritual adventurers, welcoming each person to experience their divine nature in an empowering space of unconditional love. Whatever path you've been on, whatever brought you here today, wherever you're headed next, we've been expecting you. We love you and welcome. We believe there is one power, love, intelligence, or force that we use to create our lives according to our beliefs. Or as we like to say, your new life begins with a new thought. Please silence your electronics as we turn our attention inward. And we begin this celebration as we begin everything with a practical prayer. And this morning, that prayer is brought to us by Breen Wark, RSCP. Breen?
Thank you, Joe. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to New Thought Philadelphia. Let's take a moment now just to settle in. Close your eyes if you feel like it and just relax into the awareness of the one presence, one power, one activity of spirit, the divine idea, the infinite knowingness, God, the infinite. We are all individualized expressions of that one, unique points of that divine light, coming together here and now to celebrate that oneness, to celebrate that connection to the infinite. So I know each person drawn here is moved, inspired, uplifted by the words, by the music, by the ideas, just by this time spent together. For no matter where we are, how we are connected, we are one. So I am grateful for this opportunity to be together, grateful for the technology that allows this to happen, grateful for all the contributions to this celebration. So with love and gratitude, I claim this good now for this celebration and release this word into the creative law, knowing it is so. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, Breen. Because we believe that prayer works, we'd like to open it up right now. And if anyone has a prayer work story to share, we'd love to hear from you. You can wave, raise your hand, but let us know if you have a prayer work story to share.
Breen.
So one of the things I've been working on in prayer is feeling love and connection, especially in this time of social distancing. And yesterday I live in Pennsylvania, and I had to go to New Jersey to pick up a piece of tile. Actually, there's a store that was open for pickup only because I'm finished remodeling the bathroom and I had one more piece I had to put down. And I arranged a socially distanced visit with my granddaughters. So they were on the patio, I was on the sidewalk, and we did some song and dance and laughing and giggling and being silly. And I missed hugging them, but it was great to see them in person. We've done some video chats, but I felt the love and the connection. So there it is.
It's beautiful.
Great. Thank you, Breen. Next, we have some announcements that will be brought to us by Sandy.
Got to get myself off of mute. Please join the Philly Spiritual Adventures group on meetup.com. The group includes our classes, workshops, events, and Sunday celebrations, as well as new programs at various times and locations. Add your energy, and we'll have an easy place to let fellow adventurers know who will be at the gathering. Daily online meditation, prayer, and support calls are open to all and will focus on health, harmony, peace, and prosperity in the face of the uncertainty caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., Saturday at 10:30 a.m., and Sunday at 6 p.m. Updated Zoom meeting instructions are on Meetup and our website, New Thought Philly. Our Beyond Limits is a foundational class in New Thought Ancient Wisdom, which is open to all. The next course begins on Wednesday, April 28th. The Women's Circle will meet Thursday, April 23rd by Zoom online meeting. For details, you can speak to Joe or to myself. And we are now able to accept donations and payments via credit cards in addition to PayPal. The new secure credit card platform also supports recurring donations. Reach it through the donate button on our website, newthoughtphilly.org. Reverends Bill and Dave are available for spiritual counseling and healing prayer by appointment, and our practitioners are available for healing prayer sessions. Contact them through the website. That's Joe and Breen. After the celebration, the practitioner of the day offers Miracle in a Minute sessions at no charge. Breen will be waiting for you online. Reach out by chat or email breen@newthoughtphilly.org to set up a brief phone call. We'll leave the Zoom meeting on after the celebration to answer questions and to allow you to talk with each other.
And so it is. Thank you, Sandy. So we have a special blessing for our first-time visitors. If you're willing to, please wave so that we know if you're first time. If not, you can just remain aware of the fact that you're a first-time visitor, and we're going to bless you anyhow. We invite everyone else to rub your hands together and generate a little loving consciousness, and then send that out to the new people and to the world in general. You are the bright light of divine love. Thank you for sharing your light with us, and welcome. Namaste. So as Ginger begins this next song, we generally like to greet each other. And what that looks like when we're all getting together in the same room is a bunch of people wandering around and hugging each other. Since we're separated by a little bit of actual space, we're going to give each other a hug this way in virtual space. And I invite you, as this song plays, to think of all the people on this call, and also think of all the people you love, and then think of everyone everywhere and send them your love and blessings.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. Woo! My soul is welcome here.
We perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from the one power, love, intelligence, which we call spirit or God. We honor the richness that comes from our shared diversity and bless the interwoven energy of the divine feminine and masculine. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. As Reverend Dave lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of everyone and every place you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love. Blessed be. You doing reading now?
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's what I thought. Now we have a reading, Can We Talk to God by Ernest Holmes. We're reading this in the spiritual practices class, and there's something that jumped out at me this week, so I thought it would be good to read this to folks. How much life, abundance, goodness, truth, and beauty can we mentally entertain? This is the measure of our possible experience. This is the mold of acceptance. The infinite fills all molds and flows forever into new and greater ones. It is the unborn possibility of limitless experience. We give birth to it. We should be careful not to divide our mental house against itself. Having announced the law of liberty, we must not deny it in our experience. Though the whole world has suffered a sense of limitation, there is no limitation to the universe. When all shall know the truth, then the ways, methods, and means will be found for the freedom of all people. The world is slow in waking up to reality, but we need not wait. Though the whole world were unhappy, peace still would be. It is our business to demonstrate that harmony is real and discord unreal, that good is real no matter how much evil people may be experiencing. It is on this basis alone that we can use the greatest law of life. Good never compromises with its opposite. The one practicing must be able to look a fact in the face and say that it is not there. This will not be irrational to the one who has made a careful study of the science of mind and spirit. Truth knows no opposites. When we take away the belief in evil, it flees with the dissolution of this belief. We must be continually reminding ourselves of the power of the word and of our ability to consciously use it. We must know that truth produces freedom because truth is freedom. We are not God, but we are some part of the power of God. It is in quiet expectancy and in calm confidence that our work should be done. Results rest in the eternal law of good.
Thank you, Breen.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us on the sky. Imagine all the people living for today. I imagine no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I know someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. It's hard to do. Need for greed or hunger. Brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I know someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. No, I know someday you will join us, and the world will live as one.
I can't help but clapping. Oh my. So we are where we are. And I know it seems a little simple to say that, and maybe even a little bit obvious. But the reason I say it is that in New Thought, we have always proposed this idea that everything that we are experiencing is the culmination of everything we have been thinking. So where we are in this very moment, both individually, as a nation, as a world, is a combination of what we've all been thinking about. At the local level, we get to experience the direct results of our most dominant thoughts. That is what is appearing in our life. For there's a principle that is effective in this very moment. It is responding to our individual thoughts by creating that which we are perceiving as our reality. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a real reality. We're just not sure what it is. Even the quantum physicists aren't really sure what reality is. But what we perceive as our reality is reflected back to us by the tendency of our thoughts. Now, that's something to think about on an individual level, which is a really great thing. Because if, in fact, what we are experiencing in life is a reflection of our thinking, because that's what we're focusing on, then we have the opportunity to change our thinking and hence change our experience of life. That doesn't necessarily change the facts of our immediate situation, because facts are what they are. They're where we are. But as we all know, facts change. There was a time when it was a fact that the world was flat. Now we know that that's not a fact anymore. There was a time when there were all sorts of facts that we used to believe wholeheartedly, and they were true until something came along, some new idea came along, and changed that fact from a reality to a past idea. And now we have different facts, and we can change them individually, collectively. So today's talk was looking forward to, as in also, because we have a tendency to stay in the track of our old thinking because it is comfortable. Now that's true of most people, and all of us at times like to go down nostalgia lane, perhaps, and remember both the good times and, more likely, the not so good times. Because occasionally, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but I have to assume they do since I do it, I'll go back and start reviewing all the mistakes that I seem to have made in life. That after years of experience and wisdom garnered from living life, I look back and said, boy, I wish I had done it this way instead of that way. Yet, in fact, I did it the way that I did it, and that's resulted in me being here. And that is true of each one of us. We are where we are as the culmination of our thinking, our experiences of life, the understandings we have gained, and our interactions with other people who are doing the same thing. It's a really wonderful thing that there is this universal law that is responding to our thinking, that is bringing about in our experience that which we are most focused on, to be a little redundant. But the wonderful thing about this law and the conditions that we live in is that the principle itself is not bound by the precedent of what we have thought before, which is a really good thing. Because had it been bound by the precedent of what we had thought before, we'd be living in really overcrowded caves trying to figure out how to make fire. We've advanced a little bit from there. Now we're trying to figure out how to get Zoom to work correctly on any given day, or Skype, or one of the other online media outlets, with clicking buttons and turning mute off and all of the other fun that goes with it. This is progression. Or perhaps we're just rubbing two sticks together and trying to create fire again. But the principle itself, that principle is very simple. It's the principle of cause and effect. And the difference about New Thought is that what we do with this principle of cause and effect is to actually identify where the cause is. So in science, what happens is we see an activity and we say that's the cause. It's a fact that that happened. So that was the cause, and that there was an effect that was associated with this cause. But in fact, that's just a logical game, because what's happened is many things have happened when any given causes have been identified, and many things have gone on that are seen and unseen to create an effect that we tend to associate with that cause. But in New Thought, we move that back one step further. It wasn't the activity, the condition itself that created the effect. It was the thought that brought about whatever it was that created the condition that created yet another condition. That is the part that is not bound by precedent. So if what we have been thinking is fear, hostility, rage, hate, whatever the negative emotion is, and we've been experiencing fear, hostility, rage, or hate in the world today and identifying it in other people, usually, because we don't do that. We're spiritually evolved. We don't get angry, ever. You can see the silliness of that particular statement, right? We get angry all the time. It's part of nature and human reaction to life to have these emotions. But when we focus on them, then we tend to express them into the world. And when we express them into the world, they tend to gather around them as a magnet gathers iron filings around it. The same ideas, the same emotions, and the same collective thinking that creates more of the same. On the other side, if we choose love and peace and cooperation and harmony and joy individually, we get to experience that because that's what we're being in our lives. And the world, the universal principle is reflecting that back as the cause of the effect of receiving that love, peace, joy, and harmony. And it draws to us more people who are loving, peaceful, harmonious, and want to work together for a greater expression of life now. And then that spreads. It's using the same principle. It's just using it to a different effect. You see, that principle and that infinite power that we talk about has only one way to respond to us. And the only way that it can respond to us is by corresponding to us. And what that means is that what we are thinking is what we're going to experience. Now, this on an individual level has a wonderful thing. If we are feeling some kind of lack, limitation, or sense of enclosure, we have the opportunity to begin by changing our thinking to recognize the abundance that is around us in this very moment now. Whether it's the air we breathe, or the wonder that is in our home environment, or the leaves on the trees that are budding, or the flowers coming out that we can all look at through our windows, or perhaps go for a walk on amongst, to enjoy the abundance that is already present. And when we focus on that, we start to find new things to be grateful for that are in our lives already. That's changed our thinking, and we get to experience life differently. And the world corresponds to that. Now, I like to take that a step further and think, if we would let go of the fear that people are experiencing in this moment now. I heard yesterday there were demonstrations going on. And to me personally, I find that not particularly healthful. However, I'm a metaphysician, so, it'll all turn out okay. However, if collectively, what we want to do is take this moment in time, we are where we are, take this moment in time and start to begin to set an intention for a different experience of life as we unfold. And as we unfold as a nation, as a species, in coordination with all of the other species that happen to inhabit this planet, as a world, as we move out from this world, because we're already living in space, to the next place that we go, and we understand that our collective thinking is created by our individual thinking, we have an opportunity to reimagine the way things are. Now, we also have an opportunity to look back and start pointing fingers. Look how they did that wrong. And while that may be a correct fact in any given opinion, It has absolutely no bearing in this very moment of choice, unless what you want to do is recreate the experience that you were having. That's that nostalgic negative thinking. By pointing fingers and saying, look what they did wrong. Because honestly, there is only one, which means there is no they. There is only we. So if we are spending our time focusing on the negativity that we think somebody should be doing something different, the question that one must ask is, what do I need to do differently? Not what do they need to do differently? What do I need to do differently? Often New Thought has been accused of being life in the key of me thinking. And it can be, because everything starts with the individual, because that's who we're experiencing, is ourselves. Actually, what we're experiencing is God being ourselves in an individualized form amongst other spirit being itself in other individualized form, but we have to evolve to the consciousness of that to understand it. And as we move from this place of life in the key of me, which is where we start with New Thought. Often we say, if you want to prove New Thought, pray for simple things like green lights and parking spaces, or simple things that we don't have difficulty believing that they may be connected with our prayers, as opposed to world peace. Because when we start praying for world peace and our mind identifies places that are not being peaceful, we say, this doesn't work. It does work. It's just not enough of us are consolidated in a collective consciousness of world peace to bring that about for the whole of humanity. Yet we can. There is always the opportunity to do that. But the first thing we need to do is we need to grow out of life in the key of me and begin to move towards life in the key of we. That we are all integrated, essential parts of the whole of humanity and the whole of planet Earth. And that includes all of our other species, all of the resources, all of the living plants, and everything is part of who we are. And we have a tendency to say life in the key of me. Because it's really great to say we need to reduce fossil fuel emissions. We know this. All of the science knows this, except for a few deniers. Okay, whatever. So the science points to the fact that we need to reduce fossil fuels. And everybody's like, yeah, that's a good idea. We should have air to breathe. It seems like a pretty good idea, doesn't it? I think it is. We should have clean air to breathe. It shouldn't be poisoning us. So we need to reduce the number of cars. And that's fine for everybody else but me, because I have to get to work. We need to shift the consciousness and then accept the personal responsibility of our actions and activities within the collective whole of this planet. Because we can set the intention for new ways to unfold that will allow this things that are threatening our existence on this planet. Oh, by the way, the planet will be just fine if we go away. Honest, it will. It will keep circling the sun. We just won't be on it. So we have a choice to make about how we want to live. We have a choice to make whether we want everybody on this planet to be recognized as the individual expression of the divine that they are, with the full support of everyone else on this planet, with all of the food required for sustenance, all of the air required to breathe, all of the shelter and clothing and opportunity to express that divine nature that is absolutely unique to them in each and every moment for everyone on this planet. That's the intention that we can set individually. And then using that guiding light, that star to follow, if you will, use that ideal to impact how we work individually. and then how we work within our communities, and how we express that love within our nations, and how we express that love on the global stage. The fun thing about New Thought is that the power of the imagination is limitless, because in fact, it is an infinitely potential universe, and we can choose the potentiality that we want to bring into the world. And when we choose the potentiality of good and love and enoughness for all, then there is more energy, more clarity, and more opportunity to bring that about in our individual lives and hence in our collective lives. New Thought is the movement from an old idea to a new idea, in such strength of belief that the new idea becomes the reality of our experience, because the universal principle is responding to us by corresponding to us. So I invite you, as we go out about our business, whether it be at home or in motion or doing what we would do, to explore this idea of how can I personally raise myself to the highest level of thought and then actively pursue that in my actions in the world today to bring about a new world, to bring about a world of peace and love and harmony and shared abundance for all of us, so that all of us can shine our light brightly as we move out from this place and forward into the next moment. Peace and blessings. I love you all.
Take a deep breath in. We're going to count out the ohms between these amazing phrase verses to really ground ourselves.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved and set me free. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Oh, it was grace that told my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieve. How precious dear that grace of the hour I first believed. We've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've one less day to sing Sing grace, how sweet the sound that saved and set me free. I once was lost, but now I was blind, but now I see.
It's gonna take a little grace too.
Thank you so much, Ginger. That was beautiful. Thank you.
guys.
So we're going to spend a little time in meditation right now. And I think it's a great segue. And I love, Ginger, the way you do that song with the alms. Very peaceful and relaxing. And that vibration is really, for me, it helps me to get in tune and just to go within. I mentioned earlier the reading was from the book we're reading in our spiritual practices class, where we're exploring all sorts of ways of meditation. And the sidebar, I suggest everybody take the class when it comes around again. We're in starting week 4 now, so it's kind of too late to join. But join the classes. Beyond Limits is coming up, so there's a little plug. Anyway, we've been working this week on what's called passage meditations, where you read something that has some meaning to you and meditate and contemplate on that. And I've got this pamphlet, it's called The Secret Place. And it's a meditation on the 91st Psalm. It's written by Emmett Fox. And I first found this probably 25 or 30 years ago. And it's a metaphysical interpretation of the 91st Psalm. And Emmett Fox has some great books where he does metaphysical interpretations of a lot of stuff from the Bible. But the 91st Psalm, if you're not familiar with it, it starts out with, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty." And he talks about how the secret place is not somewhere out there, but it's that place within where we connect with the infinite. And he talks about how the psalmist speaks about abiding in the shadow of the Almighty. And if you think about the Middle East and sort of the birthplace and the home of the biblical times, it's a lot of desert and a lot of sunshine, and a shadow was very, very important to rest in the shade. And any of us who've been out in the sun and it's really hot, especially if you don't have much covering, a shadow is a great thing, and to be in the shade. So I thought we'd take a little bit of time now, and I invite you to contemplate on either the idea of dwelling in the secret place, that place within, or residing in the shadow of the Almighty, whatever resonates for you. So we're going to take work on some breath. We're going to breathe in and breathe out, and we're going to hold the breath at the top with our lungs full, and we're going to hold at the bottom with our lungs empty, just to experience that giving and receiving and that flow of life. And then we'll move into some silence and we contemplate the ideas of dwelling in the secret place of the Most High and abiding in the shadow of the Almighty. So I invite you to get comfortable. Sit with your back straight. Close your eyes or let them go to a soft focus. And we're going to take a series of deep breaths. We're going to breathe in. We're going to hold the breath at the top. Then we're going to breathe out. We're going to hold for just a moment in between breaths. Feel that space in between. Breathing in. Hold. Exhale. And hold. Breathing in. Hold. Exhale. Hold. Breathing in. Exhale. Hold. And allow your breath to return to a gentle, even pace. And just feel yourself relax. Let go of the thoughts of the morning and what else you're going to do on this beautiful sunshiny day. Just be here now. Be here now in the secret place of the Most High. Be here now, abiding in the shadow of the Almighty. Find that place within. The place where we are at one with the infinite. Let that feeling flow through you. Feel it in your breath. Feel it in the space between breaths. As we go into the silence, we dwell in the secret place of the Most High and abide in the shadow of the Almighty.
I speak this word on behalf of each one on this call and everyone everywhere, knowing that that infinite power, that Most High, is all there is. It is the divine essence from which everything is formed, the unconditioned allness of love, the infinite intelligence that organizes and expresses absolutely everything. And so I know that I live, move, and have my being as an expression of this divine idea that is life. as an individualized channel of consciousness, which is the infinite intelligence, finding a unique expression through the channel of the life individualized in me. Knowing this of myself, I know this of each one on this call, that each is this same channel of intelligence and wisdom and love that is life itself, expressed uniquely with unique perceptions, unique expressions. And that collectively, this wholeness and unity of life, the oversoul, if you will, is the fullness back of each individual expression. So I claim for each one that that divine intelligence, that divine harmony, peace, joy, love, and abundance is finding new outlet through the individual expression of life itself as each person. That everyone is bringing forward ideas of harmony, of prosperity, of good expressed here and now. But this is the very nature of spirit expressing itself to itself, through itself, in a unique form. I know that collectively and individually, that wisdom that is the divine intelligence is finding an outlet for expression and activity in this instant and moment of life that is experience itself. That the ideas bubble forth effortlessly and easily, that the resources are ever available and present themselves easily and comfortably for the highest expression of life that is spirit through each one of us. All of the ideas of good are now available. So they flow into and through the individual consciousness, activating and enlivening, bringing forward more good, more love, more prosperity, more creative expression, more balance and harmony into the lives of every one of us, individually and collectively. I give thanks to speak this word of recognition, knowing that this is the divine idea of finding wonderful ways to share itself through us and as us in this very moment now. I give thanks to know that there is a law, that law of cause and effect that has been responding to every idea that has ever been implanted in it. And it is now responding to these ideas of good through the individual channels of itself, bringing about greater experience of life and love and harmony and peace, joy, and abundance. That law has always said yes. It's the only response it has ever had, has now, or will have, is to respond in the affirmative, to bring about these ideas of consciousness itself into the form of life. It is doing so now. And so from a place of gratitude and the recognition of the divine nature of this love, I release my word to that activity of spirit and let spirit do the rest. For it has all of the intelligence and all of the power to bring it about in this moment now. And for this, I am grateful. I allow it. I accept it. I stand in this truth on behalf of each one on this call and each one everywhere. And I know it is so. And so it is. So I invite you to take a deep breath. Bring yourself back into a centered awareness of your own individual being as we listen to some more music.
Come with me and just be
you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin to spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What you see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around, view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know that compares with your imagination. Living there, you will be free. Living there, you will be free. Living there, you will be free. If you truly wish to be.
Thank you, Ginger. So, as we often say at New Thought Philadelphia, the posse is the preacher. And so we'd like to open it up to see if there's any insights that have come to you that you'd like to share with the rest of the community. Just wave and we'll unmute you. And
Hi. Breen, that was wonderful. And Dave, that was wonderful. It really meshed and dovetailed with some things that I've been reading about how this pandemic is sort of like a portal. And it also is an opportunity for us to see what life was like before and decide what we may want to bring with us as things change. To really look at it and think critically about what we'd like to bring with us. And I think we don't have to know, so even the music with all the imagery of imagination, I don't think we have to worry about the how. It's easy to get caught up in, how is that going to happen? How is that going to happen? Just let go of that and just imagine how we could all live in, not just us as humans, but the entire planet, all of life could live in peace and harmony with abundance for all. And just hold that in our imaginations and not worry about the how. Give that up and think about, do we want to, is that what we want to bring with us? And maybe get more specific about how we, what we would want, not how, what we would want to bring with us through that portal. So thank you for all of this.
namaste. Thank you, Joe.
So, Dave, I wanted to say thank you and thanks, Dave, because, really challenging me to think about, how I want to show up and what action do I want to take. I've been getting distracted by the news, by actions of others, reactions to those actions. It's very easy for me to get distracted by people and events and things that I don't think are right. But I'm challenged to how do I want to react to that? What do I want to do? How do I want to be? So it's I have to really look at that. So thanks, Dave.
Peace and blessings, Breen. Thank you. Anyone else?
To add to what Joe said about this being a portal, that really resonates with me, and I've been doing a lot of reading too. And a lot of people are saying, oh, I just can't wait till we get back to normal and everything, blah, 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 normal. And I think that you know, for those of us that are really going inward and we're using our imaginations and we're trying to, where it's like we can't go back to whatever that normal was. You know, that normal was not serving. You know, it was a rat race. Not only in our physical lives, but also in a lot of people's minds. And I feel like this is an opportunity. It is a portal, like Joe said, and like many people that are light workers are saying. And I think this truly is about just reimagining a new world, coming out of this, a better world, hoping that this will help people wake up. And I love being of service with you guys. I love the prayer. I love the messages. I love the readings. The meditations are always beautiful. Thank you for having me. Love you guys.
Carla, you're unmuted. Go for it.
Thank you. So I have this whole thing going through my mind of old idea, new idea, old thought, new thought. And that's not to say that the old stuff is bad, but the evolution of, and even in Ginger's Amazing Grace, that was the song I sang at my church that I used to attend. And now I'm taking a spiritual practice class and we're talking about the meditation. So the old idea of just the Amazing Grace and the new idea of the meditation evolving into Amazing Grace with Om, and it's just amazing. I'm like kind of blown away. So I hope I'm making sense, but the evolution of a thought and what can come in it, out from it, and a new idea. My old church, if I had taken notes, it would have been frowned upon, but I have like three pages of stickies from Forever and Dave. And it's just, I don't know that I'm making any sense, but I like the evolution of a thought, from old thought to new thought and beyond, and that we're all so deeply connected. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you all for sharing. And of course, we're always available by email or phone. So if you have some more thoughts you want to share with us, let us know. In the meantime, I think we're offering. Sandy?
Our offering affirmation. I live in an abundant universe. I am one with the infinite source of all good. I am a center of conscious prosperity. I enjoy the richness of life. I bless my gift. I share my gift with gratitude and joy. I know that as I give, I do receive.
And so it is.
Missing higher frequency. Everybody's waiting on the revolution. Lift the veil up from the grand illusion. I think first it's gonna take a revelation. Lift our minds and consciously awaken to the positivity. Human beings should be full of love and light and inner peace. Vibrate to a higher frequency, higher, 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 higher. I was young, I looked for love in empty places. I got myself into some situations. Now I've grown, I know my past is not define me, and all the love I could ever need is here beside me. It took so long for me to see. It was waiting here for me. The love, the light, the
way. Higher, higher, higher. Walk the earth in search of every explanation, but be aware of your own creation. Take responsibility for your conditions, and don't forget the power of your own volition. There is joy just as there is pain. They are one in the same. It's a choice you choose to make. Choose to vibrate to a higher frequency. Higher, higher, higher. Higher, higher. I am love, I am light, I am inner peace. You are love, you are light, you are inner peace. Come on now. We are love, we are light, we are inner peace. Be the love, be the light, be the inner peace.
Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I thought we had Zoom echo, and then I heard this beautiful other voice. It was fantastic. Thank you so, so much.
I texted her, I'm like, come in here and sing with me. She said, only if you buy me a thing on Amazon. Okay, come on.
That'll work too.
Only if it's essential.
Oh my. So I want to just take a moment and bless the donations that we have received, knowing that this is the infinite abundance flowing through New Thought Philadelphia, supporting our work in the world and helping us to continue to spread the light. The way that you are sharing is the way that you are shining your light, and it is absolutely delightful. So I invite you, you don't have to stand up with this one, but I invite you to take the mind of the person next to you and extend that out to everyone everywhere as we say, after me, I am the love.
I am the love.
I am the light.
I am light.
I share my love.
I share my love.
Share my love.
And I shine my light.
And shine my light.
And so it is. Thank you all. Wonderful stuff. Stick around. We'll leave the Zoom on if you guys want to chat together. It'll be fine. If you'd like a prayer, you can contact Breen and he will set up a phone call with you to do a brief practical prayer. So peace and blessings all. Now I'm going from minister to being bagel eater.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
It's great to see everyone.
Thank you, everyone.